Hi, in this session we will discuss about some basic principles of object-oriented programming. When we say C++ as an object-oriented programming language, it is supposed to follow some basic principles. Before actually we go for which are those principles, we will see what is an object. So object is nothing but it is an entity which has well-defined structure and behavior. Now this object has four important characteristics. First is state, second is behavior, third is identity, and fourth is responsibility. We can say whatever we can see or whatever we can feel is nothing but object. So we can say, for example, air is an object. We can say car is an object. We can say fan is an object, right? These are all nothing but the examples of object. Let's discuss these characteristics one by one. The first characteristic is state of an object. So state of an object is nothing but current values of all its attributes. Those attributes could be either static or dynamic. For example, when I say car as an object, it has got static as well as dynamic attributes. Static attributes are those which are fixed during the lifespan of the object, whereas dynamic attributes are those which are changing. For example, color, shape, or I can say fuel type, these are the attributes of the car which are fixed throughout the lifetime, whereas tire pressure level, fuel level, these are the attributes which are changing over the period of time. This is nothing but the state of an object. Next characteristic is behavior of an object. Now behavior is nothing but how the object acts or reacts in terms of state changes based on it, right? For example, if we again take example of car object, so behavior of car object is, we can say, at one position when the speed is 0. When the speed is, let's say, 40, so behavior is it is moving. So depending on the speed as a, we can say, attribute, the behavior of the car object is changing. That is nothing but behavior. Next characteristic is identity of an object. Now every object has got unique identity. Now again, if I talk of in context with car object, so see, there could be multiple cars of same color, same make, same even fuel type also, but one attribute is there which is unique for every object or every car. That is nothing but insurance, we can say registration number. So every car has got unique registration number, right? This is nothing but identity. Another example could be bank account. There could be two, you can say, customers in a bank having same name, but their bank account number is going to be different. That is nothing but the identity of an object. And the next characteristic is nothing but responsibility. Now the responsibility of an object is the role that object plays within the system. Now when we say our training class, or we can say online teaching, right, it is nothing but one object, right? So it is nothing but one activity. So in this activity, me as a trainer has got some responsibility, and you as a student has got some responsibility, right? So that is nothing but responsibility of it. So every object do have state, behavior, identity, and responsibility. These are the four characteristics of the object. Next point is something called object model. Any language which supports these four major pillars is referred as object oriented language. The first is abstraction, second is encapsulation, third is inheritance, and fourth is polymorphism. Let's see these terms one by one. So abstraction is nothing but it is the process of identifying the key aspects of an entity and ignoring the rest. Now let's take one example of one object. Let's say a person as an object, or we can say student as an object. So let's say I want to consider student as an object for, let's say, some survey, some kind of survey, for example. So which attributes I will take of the students? Maybe I will take roll number, maybe name, I will take, let's say, marks, right? But there are other attributes about the students which I will not consider because it is not required to me, right? Or for example, let's take a person object. Now person object is to be used for, let's say, a healthcare survey. So in that case, apart from name, I will require some important attributes like his blood group, right, his disease history, and so on. This is nothing but abstraction. So taking only those attributes or taking only those parameters which are essential and simply ignore the other parameter, that is nothing but abstraction. So the next, what we can say, major pillar is encapsulation. See, before that we can see this diagram. So when we say abstraction, there are two types of abstraction, something called as data abstraction and something called as procedural abstraction. So if we have some real world entity, that entity could be abstracted either in data abstraction or procedure. So its attributes can be extracted, and its procedure means behavior can be extracted, right? And these attributes can be modeled in software domain in terms of the data, and behavior can be modeled in software domain in terms of the functions or methods, right? And data and functions are stored inside object. This is how the object model is, right? Next is nothing but encapsulation. Now it is the process of hiding the implementation level of an object. Now implementation level details to the object's attributes as well as to the implementation of the object's behaviors. Now see, we need to hide some important data so that it should not be accessible to outside world. That can be done by using encapsulation, but that data can be accessed in a very restricted way by the methods of that class, we can say, right? So the internal implementation can only be accessed to the object's public interface. So public interface is nothing but the methods, or you can say functions of that class. So keeping attributes and related behaviors together is another way of implementing encapsulation. So this is second, can say, pillar. Third is inheritance. Now one of the reason this major pillar was introduced is code reusability. So whenever we want to reuse some part of the program or some part of the function, we can say, that can be achieved by the inheritance. So when it is, we can say, a property with which one class can be inherited from some other class. So the class which is derived, that is called as the derived class, and from which it is derived, it is called as main class, or we can say super class. Now a subclass not only inherits attributes and behaviors from its superclass, but it also adds its own features or its own attributes, right? So not only reusability but extensibility also. This inheritance is based on a concept called as is a kind of hierarchy, right? So for example, I can say, let's consider one class hierarchy. So we have a topmost class called as vehicle class, and from vehicle class there are different subclasses like two-wheeler, three-wheeler and four-wheeler. So I will say two-wheeler is a vehicle, I will say three-wheeler is a vehicle. Further, two-wheelers could be either geared or non-geared. So I can say, let's say Honda. So Honda is a two-wheeler, something like that. So is a kind of relationship is used in case of inheritance. There is one more concept called as containment. Now when we have one object as a part of another object, that is called as containment. That containment either can be physical or it need not be physical. For example, if I again take a case of car object. Now car has different parts, like car has chassis, car has engine, car has something called as registration document, car has something called insurance document. So if you see chassis and engine, these are the physical parts, right? So which are the actual objects which are available inside a car. Whereas registration number, or we can say registration papers and insurance paper, those are the nothing but the conceptual entities, right? So still they belong to the car object. So we can say car is a container object, and chassis, engine, registration papers and insurance paper, they are nothing but the contained object. So there is container and contained relationship, right? And the last pillar of object model is polymorphism. This is a basically Greek term. So poly means many and morph means forms, right? So the ability of different objects to take different forms is nothing but the polymorphism. So it is one of the polymorphism in object oriented environments is typically associated with overridden behaviors across subclasses in a class hierarchy, each of which has the same name as that it's in superclass, but chooses to keep its implementation specific to its own need. See, with polymorphism we can have multiple functions of same name which are available in different classes which are related by the inheritance, or we can say they are in a hierarchical structure. So the subclass may override those functions. That means a subclass may provide its own implementation, or you can say some additional implementation, right? That is nothing but the polymorphism. Okay, so this is about the object model. Okay, so in next session we'll discuss about details about something called as reference variable. Thank you for listening.